Welcome to Flagstaff Favorites. I'm Jacque Gencarelle. Today we're with Andy Vaughan of Doni Coffee. Thanks so much for joining us today, Andy. And Andy it is, correct?
Yep,
Andy
right.
Vaughan with
Doni
Coffee. Now, is it Doni Coffee or Doni Park Coffee?
Doni Coffee.
Doni Coffee, okay.
Well, I don't know that Doni Park has any other coffee roasters. So
At least not yet,
right,
correct?
right, that's true.
All right, so tell us a little bit about your business.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Doni Coffee. I'm based in just on the east side of Mount Elden, and I roast out of my barn. So that's fun. And you can order at donicoffee.com anytime.
Okay.
I do a roast to order model where you place the order, then I roast it for you and let you know when it's ready for pickup, or I deliver it to you.
Why would you do that?
So-
Why would you do a roast order?
Oh, to keep it fresh.
Oh, yeah? Okay.
Most brick and mortar stores will roast a big old batch of coffee and then they'll have it available so you can pick it up whenever you need it. But I like the coffee to be very fresh.
Okay, and what does that do to the acidity or to the coffee itself?
It tastes better. Hard to describe. Also, when you're blooming, this is really nerdy stuff.
No, that's why we want to know.
Yeah, when you're brewing the coffee or espresso methods, either way, when it's fresh, it blooms better. Normally, you'd want to let it rest a couple days, but sometimes I don't wait. And it just tastes better when it's fresh. You get the full flavor, which does tend to deteriorate over time.
Yeah, okay.
So freshness is important.
Definitely. So walk us through, why start a coffee roastery?
That story goes back to the 90s.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Second wave coffee. I was towards the end of my college career. I got a job as a barista. And that's really where I started loving good coffee. And after college, I didn't have any money, but I still liked good coffee. So eventually I got into roasting my own.
Okay.
Because it's a lot cheaper and you can have a lot more control over the roast and the flavors and everything.
So were you in a dorm room roasting your own, or?
I started roasting my own when I had my own place. It does smoke a lot, so you don't want to do this indoors generally.
Yeah.
I moved up to a bread maker setup, which I still use. And then I just basically scaled up for the business. And I have a barbecue grill with a drum and a motor. So you have the heat, you have the airflow, and you have the beans moving. All right, we're at 9 minutes again.
So say what you're doing again?
Oh, just tracking how long it takes to reach the first track for each batch and each amount of coffee. So right now I'm doing a extra dark Brazil, 3 pounds worth. The grill was hot because you gotta warm it up. And the ambient temperature is 64 degrees and it's lovely. And it took us 9 minutes to get the first crack. And it'll probably be another 2.5 to 3 to reach second crack, and I'll move that here. All right.
And why are you wearing the mask?
Oh, because of smoke. There's a lot of smoke involved, depending on how you roast it. But
Okay.
the end product is
And do
really
you just
good.
use, like, if you use like you're saying, the barbecue do you have to put like charcoal, or is it wood based?
It's propane.
Propane. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And I've never used it for hamburgers or anything, so it's just dedicated for coffee.
Okay.
Although, like a steak flavored coffee, I don't know.
That sounds pretty good.
Maybe. I've been
Yeah.
brave enough to try it.
So you're telling us about your story. So you started just in college, and you were a barista.
Right.
And then what was the next step?
So for years and years, I'd roast for myself. And then around the COVID quarantine days, I decided to just leave my office job and start this side gig as coffee roasting. scaling it up and trying to offer this good quality coffee to other people.
Yeah.
So I did that. As my wife also got a job at the Literacy Center, nonprofit here in Flagstaff. And as her hours and demands have increased, like I've stuck with the side gig so I could help take care of all of our kids and driving and doing dishes and things like that. With the
Very
flexible
cool.
schedule of the coffee
Kind
roasting.
of a coffee renaissance guy.
I guess so.
And you say it's in your barn. So
Right.
do you keep your stock in the barn as well?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
keep all the green beans and the bags and the boxes, all the equipment, and everything you need to have a coffee roastery. It's very,
So walk us through that process, like when you're roasting.
Mm-hmm.
What's a day of a roast look like?
first off, I drink coffee. That's always step one, just so I can actually do things. And then I figure out my roast schedule, the roasting queue, which is a very technically sound spreadsheet that I input by hand. And then I head out to the barn. Here's the coffee roastery. Used to have horses before we bought it. And we converted it into a workshop / coffee roastery. Right now I have some, what is it? Brazil roasting here in the grill. And I just fire up the grill, start pouring the beans into the buckets, and then the bucket of beans into the grill drum, and you roast that. Just to make sure the temperature setup is good, and if I want to change the roast profile, I can thermally alter or thermally regulate the roasting setup there.
Okay.
For a commercial coffee roaster, it's all automatically done for you. But here I have to lift the lid of the grill, for a few seconds,
Right.
then close it. It alters the temperature a little bit.
It's very scientific.
Right. It's very scientific. But then as it gets roasting, I'll fill up the next batch, and as I build up some time and have some spare minutes between roasts, I'll start the packaging, and it's all fairly straightforward once you know what you're doing.
Do you sometimes find yourself getting a little mixed up and like, oh, that one went too far? So, that's going to be
Generally not. I've developed kind of a internal timer. Plus, I can also smell the coffee roasting. The part where I use my ears to listen and make sure it's cracking uniformly across the grill. If it gets hotter in one spot than the other, then it's an uneven roast, and that's not what you want. And I've done it enough so that I can tell you what stage of roasting it's at by smelling it, which is fun, and also by the amount of smoke and all these sensory things, which is why I have to have coffee first, so I'm awake enough to do this. I have messed up batches. If I mess it up bad, I just toss it onto the ground in our yard.
And can you compost?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah?
Compost it or just toss it out onto the ground. We have it's a Doni Park, so there's a lot of room and a lot of dirt we could play with.
So you're telling me there's a section of your area that has really good earth now.
I think it is. Yeah. Over the years, it's going to be interesting to see. Like
What's going to grow there?
Right. Something that likes acidity a little bit more.
Maybe coffee plants?
Yeah, well, I wish. Yeah, that's one common thing that people ask is like, oh, is your coffee grown in Flagstaff? And no, it needs tropical climates.
Really?
To grow. Yeah.
Tell us about that. Tell us about your sourcing. Where do you get your beans?
Oh, yeah. I get the beans from a few different suppliers. One is Genuine Origin, Balzac out in South Carolina.
Okay.
They carry a particular kind of bean that I really like. And then also I used Mayan Winds on 4th Street for some of their coffee is really good. So I have numerous different suppliers that I could choose from. Whoever has the best combination of the kind of coffee I'm looking for and a good price. And they also have to be reliable quality. Like I don't want to have to mess with a lot of defects when I'm roasting.
So what would that be look like? A defect?
Defect, a lot of different kinds, like a broken bean.
Okay.
Or one that isn't fully removed from its shell, I guess, not fully processed. Or what do they call those? A shaker, I think. But usually they're just either gnarly looking or else just different colored than the other beans. And so after every roast, I'll go through it and I'll pick out the worst of them. There we go. Now I'm going to pull it out and pour it into here. It's a fairly manual process. Pretty reasonable. And then now is the part where I look through it for defects. This bean is a really good consistent quality, so I might not find any. Sometimes I'll be looking through it too much, and you're looking for the perfect bean, and I'm like throwing out stuff that's perfectly good. I don't know. Probably be fine, but if in doubt, it looks a little gnarly, so I'll throw it out.
Nice. So when the bean, what's your perfect bean looks like? What does it look like when it comes to you before you roast it? They actually look a little greenish. Okay. Different origins, different varieties of coffee have different size beans. And some of them not just natural process, but some of them have a lot of variability in size. Some are all the same, like a Brazil. It's more commodity oriented, so they're all come out just the same, which is fine. Yeah. Or I had some interesting East Africa ones. Some of the beans are big, some are small, which makes it a little challenging to get the roast balanced. But it's because would the larger beans be more robust, or I don't know. But the overall flavor is good. I think they're just less picky. Like, I'll stick the whole batch in. Yeah. Maybe just shake the tree, right? Maybe so. But the key for me is the end product. So I'll roast it, and like Indonesians often roast unevenly, typically, but I'll taste it. And if it's good, then I'm going to go with it. That's really what it comes down to for the coffee selection. Yeah. So while we're talking coffee, let's talk. There's a lot of folks say, if you want more caffeine out of it, you go light roast. So walk us through that: light, medium, dark, and then super bold. Yeah, we're getting real nerdy today. Oh, yeah. From my understanding, there are certain like genetically selected coffees that actually have more caffeine per gram of coffee grounds, I guess. But that's pretty rare, and it's not that big of a difference, I think. The biggest difference between your dark and your light is the density. Okay. So the lighter is a lot denser than the dark, because the dark, the more you roast it, the more it expands. And eventually, if you roast it a lot, it starts to break down structurally. So per volume, like a cup or a teaspoon, the caffeine is going to be more for your lighter roast. Okay. But if you're really nerdy and you weigh your coffee, instead of using a volume scoop, then they'll be the same. Or you do it like we do, just kind of eyeball it. It's like, okay, I think that's it. Bzz. Yeah, I do too. Don't tell anyone. It's our secret, right? Yeah. So in that case, if you're using a scooper, then the light roast is going to have more caffeine because it's more dense. Yeah. Not that the plant or the tree itself has more caffeine per se. Interesting. Okay. Assuming we're talking about Arabica coffee instead of Right. Yeah. Anyway. Yeah. And that's just kind of Arabica's would be your Costco brands or what have you. Arabica would be like any good coffee. The Robusta would be your first wave coffee generally, like Folgers, U-Ban. Okay. Yeah. The stuff that you wouldn't pay a lot for is actually more caffeinated. Really? Than the Arabica. Yeah. Yeah, that explains some things. My dad was an avid coffee drinker, and that was his Folgers. So we're talking, taste and what have you. And I know some of your offerings on your website, there's different flavors. How do you get those flavors? I know some of them, they're have a cinnamon overtone. There's some that have a light
coffee with chocolate and maybe a hint of floral. How do you get those?
Yeah, those that comes from the suppliers.
Okay.
Whenever I'm shopping for green coffee, I'll either ask my contact or else look at the description they post, and they'll give you a pretty good flavor description and an SCA score generally. And then I'll say, hey, this one looks promising, this one looks good, and then they'll send me a sample. I'll roast it up and taste it. I'll be honest, that's one of the big perks of the job is I get to try lots of different coffees.
Yeah.
But for each roast, like the Friendly Neighbor, the Dark Sky, I have a particular kind of flavor profile in mind. And so I'll just find the type of coffee bean that does that well. Like probably my most popular coffee is the Friendly Neighbor, medium roast. And for that one, I need a coffee that's, I call unpretentious. Like it's not trying to be, fruit punch or lemonade, which is fine for a light roast. But for this one, it's something smooth with a good body, and it tastes like coffee.
Right. Okay.
Maybe like some nutty or milk chocolate nuance if you want to get into it, but just smooth, good coffee.
So what is your latest tour guide?
The latest one is from Tanzania.
Oh,
I
Tanzania,
really like
okay.
the East African coffees. Before that, we had Colombian coffee.
I think so, yeah. It
Uh-huh.
was.
And
So Tanzania, so would that be the ones that are kind of a little mixed bag, different sizes? That type?
It has some of that.
Okay.
And this one actually does have a lot of defects I have to pick through. I don't know. But the flavor is so good, I'm willing to do that.
And that Tanzania one comes in from where?
East Africa. Oh, where does it come from? I think it ships into a Houston depot.
Okay.
And then it ships across the country.
Yeah.
I would assume by truck. But anyway, they drop it off at my door, so it's super convenient. Yeah, so it's East African. It's really good, complex flavor. It's got a little molasses and caramel up front, but that quickly fades to the more fancy, fruity flavors. And it's
I think
nice,
I
clean
ordered
cup.
that one last time,
Had that one?
and I did like it.
Yeah.
It was like, It made me want to have like a cinnamon roll with it.
Oh, right.
Yeah, I was
Right.
like, ooh, this is really, Mom, I
Yep.
need something.
Yeah, it's very fun.
So how about your Christmas spice one? How did that come
Yes,
about?
that was more experimentation, partly because I like coffee so much. And because in the fall for coffee in the coffee business, everything is pumpkin spice.
Oh,
Right?
Right.
And pumpkin spice is good, but it's been done. So I decided to do something a little different and go for more of a Christmassy holiday type flavor, more with cloves. And so I took the coffee bean, just a dark roast. I could do it with any of the coffees, but it fits really well with the Dark Sky. And I just tried different proportions of different spices until I found one that I really liked.
I'll tell you, that one is my favorite over the past couple of years that we've been ordering from you,
Yep.
and I love that one. It takes me back to Christmas.
Yeah,
it's just
that's
like,
the goal. And to make it, I actually get the spices themselves. I don't use a flavored syrup or anything.
Really?
So
Okay.
I take, and I have the proportions measured out, and I'll take a batch of the cinnamon and allspice and cloves and cocoa I do separate because I can get messy. But I'll toss them in a blender, Vitamix, and just grind them up a little bit so it makes into little bits. And I just
and
toss
then
it
you
straight
just
into the
toss
beans.
it while they're roasting, or after?
Oh, no,
the-
after the
Okay,
roasting.
okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. So it's like natural additions instead of syrups or artificial flavors.
Nice.
Also, I have the pinion. I really like that one.
Yeah, and that is an acquired taste.
If you like nutty, obviously, then you'll probably like it. If
Yeah.
you don't, then no. Because I actually get the pinion nuts shipped over from New Mexico
Oh,
because they have a lot of pinion trees there.
Yeah,
And they had a good price. And so I roast those and I just add them in with the coffee. So very simple.
yeah, yeah.
I really like it. So.
And it's whole. You just add it all in and
Yep.
just roast it in.
Yep, whole nuts inside the shell. Very similar shape and size to the coffee beans, so
Yeah,
they mix
yeah.
right in.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And then they grind well.
Right.
right?
Yep,
And
no problem.
so, what is your newest offering that that you offer? I know that you have whole bean.
Mm-hmm.
You do offer. You can have it ground.
Yep, I have a grinder.
What's the other option that you have now?
I guess the latest thing we've done is offering a half-pound bag. Mm-hmm. Because folks don't always need a full pound or they don't go through it. Or you can buy 2 half-pound ones and get a little variety in there. And I've started offering a variety pack as well.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, kind of like a flight in beer terms. But for coffee, you could order like a 4-pack of the 8-ounce ones.
Yeah.
So somebody just ordered it, and you could tell me what you like, or I'll pick for you. Usually light, medium, it's just a variety.
Yeah, definitely a flight.
Yeah. I use a very high-tech pet food dispenser to process the coffee beans. I toss in the nice beans at the top. Put on some gloves. There we go. So to make the process efficient, I put it directly onto a scale, so I know how much coffee is going into it. There we go. Okay. Well, I often will double check these on a manual scale because I don't trust digital things. Just package it up. And there we go. 1 pound decaf. Roasted this morning.
And you do have K-cups, correct?
Oh, right. Yes. I've started doing K-cups. We got a K-cup maker. Just for the people who staying in hotels or dorm rooms or have a Keurig machine in their office or at home. And it's most of the there's hard to find good K-cup coffee. You could find K-cup. It's hard to say K-cup at the grocery store. Like Dunkin', whatever brand it is, but it's not great. But if you take this specialty quality coffee and you put it in a K-cup, it's really good. I offer the a kit with a reusable, little kind of like a foil one, where you put in grounds every time and you wash it out. So that's the more environmentally conscious option.
Absolutely.
I was kind of uncomfortable offering the plastic K-cups because it does generate some waste. There are some options for industrial composting or recycling, but neither of those is available in Flagstaff anyway.
Right.
So I figured, just do this. And, if it saves people from buying a big old plastic cup at a coffee shop, then it's worthwhile.
Nice.
So convenience, quality.
Absolutely.
We do what we can.
So how do you find folks coming to your business and finding your coffee?
Good question. I'm not very good at marketing, I'll be honest. I guess we're involved on social media at Doni Coffee for Instagram, Facebook. I think those are the ones we do. Email newsletters. I did some advertising as well. I think the Daily Sun at one point, and then the coupon mailer. But probably the best thing is when I do community events, and I get to talk to people, and they get to try a sample of the coffee, and then they tell their friends and neighbors, word of mouth stuff.
Nice.
And also, I really do enjoy talking to customers and potential customers as well.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
That sounds cool. I know that's how we found you. Through a friend who was a former barista. It's like, oh, you should try this coffee. So I'm like, well, okay, we'll try it. So yeah. And we've been a pretty loyal customer, I would say.
Definitely. And that's the objective, is to have a coffee, a product that's good enough in quality and low enough in price.
Right.
That people want to keep coming back. Like some customers drop off because it's not their thing, or their doctor tells them you need less caffeine, and then they'll either switch to decaf, which I have a good decaf as well, or
I did see that.
It's not. I have that after dinner sometimes.
Really?
So, yes.
How many cups of coffee do you have a day?
Depends on the day.
Okay.
Yeah.
So how about today?
Today, let's see, 2, and some espresso. 3 so far, which is a good day.
Okay. How many ounces is that cup?
12-ounce mug thing, and the other one's just a double shot of espresso.
Woo.
So it's a fair amount.
Yeah.
On a rough day, I'll bump up to 4 cups.
In preps, right? Preps for the interview.
Right. Oh, no, I don't want to be shaking, I have done that.
Yeah.
Well, sometimes I'll do these events and just be drinking coffee all morning.
You're like, oh, man, I just drank this whole coffee.
Right. One time I came home and I was talking to my wife and I was wondering, why is she talking so slow? Oh, it's me. I'm just super caffeinated. I've reached another level of consciousness.
Oh, wow.
Where the world around you is slow. So.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah.
Aspire to that. Andy, so I've ordered my coffee. So how do I get my coffee?
Yeah, when I'm done roasting the coffee, a couple different ways. One is if you live somewhere else, I'll mail it to you.
Okay.
Or I could deliver it anywhere in the Flagstaff area. I charge $2 per order. Or you can pick it up for free from our house. I have a set of boxes, little pickup boxes at the fence. So you just drive up, and I'll text you or send you an email saying, hey, you're in box number 6. And so then you drive up whenever you have a chance and pull your coffee from box number 6. Oh,
and it smells fantastic, right? Because it's roasted that day.
Oh,
correct?
yes.
Okay. Thanks so much for coming in.
Yep.
I hope it was a lot of fun.
Thank
and I know you
much.
probably have to go get some more coffee, right?
Always.
Thanks so much. Thanks for joining us for Flagstaff Favorites, brought to you by Flagstaff Video Podcast.